Hello, campaigners. Welcome back to Campaign Terrain. I'm your host, That Guy Cross. Tonight on the stream, I'm going to be prototyping some new platforms for my city blog blocks. You're aware of my streets because I've been working on those over the last couple of weeks, and you're also aware of my full-size blocks. So tonight, I'm going to be working on some that are this size, but they're going to be having steps cut out of them so that the figures can go up onto a platform. And I may get to designing some with corner steps as well. But I don't know that I'll get around to actually building any tonight, but I will be prototyping in 3D, like I'll prototype with a piece of foam core here in a moment. My plan is to have a 3-inch wide set of stairs right here. And the depth, I'm going to build the stairs first. And then when I get them to come up to the right elevation, then I will know, based on just eyeballing the width that I want the stairs, I will then know how deep to cut the hole for them. So they're going to be 3 inches wide. I'm going to start building the stairs, and then I'll figure out how wide to put them afterwards. They need to be just shy of this high, just one layer of foam core, like 4 millimeters, give or take, below this and above this, because I'm going to have a solid foam core base as well. So that base needs to be just small enough that I can make the bricks around the outside edge as well. So I need to basically use this size piece, which is 11.5 inches, 11 and 5/8 inches, and by 11 and 5/8. And then I will be building stairs onto that, and then I will know how big to make the top platform to make that leading edge sit just on top of those stairs. I don't think I'm going to bother making these into a storage box like before. I believe these are just going to be solid. Once I have all that done, then later on I can build it. These will be 3-inch again, which is my normal height. In future, I will also build a 2-inch one and a 1-inch one of all of these, but I have not gotten to that point yet. This is going to be a big set of stuff when I'm done. But for right now, new one of these designed with stairs. That's what we're doing tonight. Hope y'all can hear me all right. If anybody has a problem hearing me, let me know, and I will adjust the mic as necessary. So, let's see. Let's see. First, I'm going to need a piece of foam core, a couple things to measure with, a couple straight lines to make straight edges with. There's the straight edge. Need a piece of foam core at least foot by a foot. I'm actually going to need 2 of those and some extras to make the stairs. Let me go find those. I'm not going anywhere. You will still be able to hear me. But let me go dig those up. Give me just a second. So, heading all the way across my shop. So, pardon me. Hopefully, y'all can hear me. You will be able to again in a moment if you can't now. One sheet should be enough. So, let's grab that. And we can get this party started. Okay. Now I'm going to need to cut 2 1-foot squares out of this, or just slightly under 1 foot. Actually, one needs to be 1 foot, and one needs to be slightly less. So, let's see. Easiest way to do that, I think, is going to be to use just my grid on here. Let me switch to a different camera for you. Okay, now I'm going to be using this grid right here to mark 1 foot here and 1 foot here. Then I'm going to draw a line all the way across. This is not quite 2 feet, so I'm actually going to, I'm going to do that different. I'm going to do that the other way. So I'm going to put a foot mark here and a 1 foot mark here. And then I'm going to use my longer straight edge, go all the way across. All righty. So put that at the 0 and that at the 0. And get a pencil. There we go. And do some math here. That's 24 down to 12. Got my head in the way there. Sorry about that. Okay, those are my 2 marks. I'm going to take this here, and there is no way I'm going to be able to do that at that angle. So let's move some things and switch that. Oh, move the keyboard. Okay. That on the mark. Put that on the mark. Grab a nice sharp knife. Sharpened this one last week when I was done with it. It might not be sharp enough, but if it's not, I'll do that real quick. No, it's doing fine. Okay. Remember, long, slow cuts. Couple, 3 times to get through is fine. Just in case you never remember which one's to which, that's why I put the mark on here to let me know that that's the offcut. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a pencil mark on there. Anyway, this is the one I am no longer going to need for this build. Always keep your offcuts, of course. Okay, now I know that's a foot. So then this one needs to also be a foot. Let's switch that straighter one, the shorter one. It's easier to maneuver. All right. Oh, good. Glad you can hear me. That's excellent. Mrs. Lynn's joining us for anybody who can't see the chat. And says the audio's coming through good. Got the mic right in front of me, so you should be able to hear it even if I walk away. Okay, again, this needs to be a foot. I'm going to line up on this. It's about 2 inches off on that one. 2 inches off on this one, so that's 1 foot there. And I'm using this center square to work from, even though I'm not lined up with it. And that's going to be a foot right there. And straight edge, nice sharp knife, low, slow cuts. And take that. There's 1, 2. Took me 3 last time. Let's go ahead and do that again. That should be done. It is. Okay, now this next one, like I said, needs to be 11 and 5/8, give or take. So I am not being anywhere near that specific. All these are going to have a little wiggle. All of the bricks on the side have different dimensions, different depths. So we're not being that picky on it. But this one, we'll just go with 11 and 5/8, give or take. That's going to be right here. And here. All right. Again. So I know which one's not the one I'm cutting. So then we take the straight edge again. Okay, now this one is going to be my base. And I kind of already screwed that up, but that's okay. It won't matter. Oh, no, I didn't, because I can do it the other way. Okay, so this needs to be 11 and 5/8 this way, where it's a foot, but I don't want to cut that off all the way across because I do want this front piece to be my first step, not my main step, my first step. So we're going to take that and again, 11 and 5/8. And I'm just doing this out of my head. I'm just picking a pattern and going with it. I am not in any way, shape, or form trying to make this super specific or super perfect. Now, on this one, I'm not going to cut all the way across because I'm going to take this line. There is no way that's accurate. Let's try. I see what I did. Skipping that. I don't know why I'm erasing that. I'm going to cut it off in a moment. Okay. That's 11 and 5/8. No, that's right. This one's wrong. There we go. Measure 47 times, cut once. I think that's how that goes. I don't know. I was only a carpenter for 15 years. All right. Now, again, don't want to cut this because part of this is going to be left here. So I want to take this, pull it across, then take it here, and in the center, as I can make that, I want to draw 1.5 inches out and 1.5 inches out. I should have done this while it was still a foot wide and gone from there, but that's all right. And that gives me my 3-inch middle piece. Where, oh, nope. See, I keep messing up. That's supposed to be 4 inches. So that's this one and this one, because it's 4 and 4 and 4, not 3. And I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. Maths. What are you going to do? Maths is hard. Let's go shopping. Any of y'all don't know that reference? Years ago, there was a Barbie doll that had where they switched out the Barbies and the G.I. Joe's voice boxes. And a lot of the G.I. Joes were saying, math is hard. Let's go shopping, allegedly. And a lot of people got mad, not because they had switched the boxes out, but because they were making Barbie sound stupid about money. I can see that. All right, we're going to take that little spot, cut that out. Should be doing this in low, slow passes. I've already gone and broken my own rule. All right, so now this should be 12 inches, not should be, is 12 inches, where this is 11 and 5/8. Now, I am going to use the straight edge for this part because I don't trust myself to get that line quite straight. All righty. Low, slow cuts. There's that piece off. Always save your offcuts. We can find something to use that for. Now, I'm not going to cut here because it's always better to cut out from a corner. So I'm going to take that, turn that around, and I am super right-handed, so this should be fun. All right, all right. Hey, DNC, how you doing, man? For any of y'all who don't know, Dungeons and Chronics has his own channel. He does a lot of really nice builds. Includes a lot of little minutia that make his whole design come alive. So, get a chance, go check out his channel. All right, now this is the base. Once again, this is the cheapo board from Dollar Tree. So this will be fairly easy to peel. The white stuff's super easy to peel. The black stuff's got some issues. So this one's basically ready to peel and go. But I just want to make sure, double check, triple check. This needs to be a foot in front of the stair to here. Using this as a gauge, I can see that it is. These need to be about 11 and 5/8, which it is. And this needs to be 4 inches, which it is. And as centered as we can get it. And that was a little difficult because I'd already cut pieces off the side and could match to the foot, but we're close. All right, now this is the top. Eventually, this will have a section cut out for the stairs to match into, but not yet because we don't know how deep to cut that yet. So now we're going to take this and just in case I'm not going to peel this yet. So we're going to take that and set that there. This, I need 4 inches wide as well. I said 3 inches wide at the beginning of the thing, but I've since then corrected that. So make sure that's straight along this edge here. It should be fairly square all the way around because of the way I cut it. But I can tell that this side is a factory edge, so I'm going to use this side instead of this one. Gauge that to there. Gauge at the 4-inch mark. And at the, ooh, that one's disappeared. Let's try this over here. Cut too much here. I can't see where my mark is, so feel free to move your stuff around or measure it however works for you. Okay, again, that's 4 inches. I know I'm using this even though I've already marked it off, so I'm going to take this and know that that's my side I'm cutting off. All right, now I don't need that. Take a knife. Again, low, slow passes, multiple times. Oh, one more. Good to go. This piece, set aside for later. Don't know that we're going to need it. All right, so just a moment. Okay, now this is going to be this piece will be cut into multiple stairs. So yeah, these, whichever. I don't know exactly how big I want to make the stairs so that they'll support each other when I glue them. So what I am going to do is go with about a 3/4 inch because I know that that'll be enough to give me adequate space to glue on, because that way I can overlap them like a 1/2 inch each time. That's going to leave a 1/4 inch here, which is a little bit more than the thickness, which is perfect. For anybody who doesn't know, this is not on the quiz, but standard staircases are 37.5 degrees. A lot of people think they're 45. They are not. They're 45. They're going to be a little steep and people are going to fall. So pushing these just a little further back will make them more realistic, but that's actually not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it so I have a nice 1/4 inch gap and a nice 1/2 inch to glue. So 3/4 inches, 3/4 inches, 3/4 inches. Now, you could peel this and then use like a hot wire cutter and run it through a bunch of times. I don't need this to be anywhere near that accurate, especially since I'm going to be texturing these with a ball and it's going to mess up all the straight edges anyway. So we're not doing that tonight. We're going to take an even shorter straight edge. But this one, we're going to use a speed square. It's got this little lip on it, and I can use that to keep it straight as I go across here. But I'm going to go ahead and mark all these at once. So I'm just going to pick one edge and put 3/4 inch marks. All right. 3/4 of an inch. Again, I'm using these squares, and these little dots are each 1/4 inch. I don't know if you can see those in there. Let me switch up to a different camera. All right, so each of these little squares is 1 inch. Each of these little dots is a 1/4 inch apart. So it makes measuring 3/4 of an inch really easy. I just take it, come here, and there we go. And I will come over 3/4 of an inch and make that little mark. Be a little bigger than that, but you'll see in a minute. Now remember, I'm doing this one at the 3/4 inch mark. I don't want to do this at the 3/4 inch mark. That's going to give me an inch. I actually only want 3/4. This one's going to be at 3/4, 1.5, 2.25, and 3. And then continue that same process all the way across. I honestly don't know how many stairs this is going to take, but this stuff's really super cheap, and anything I cut off, I can always use the offcuts for something else. So I'm just going to cut this whole piece. Again, at every 3/4 of an inch. Okay, perfecto. Now, we're going to take this, and this lip is taller than this. So I'm actually going to sit this on another piece to lift that up so that it will give me a high enough drop. But I'm also going to slide it out a little, just a little. I don't want it to tip like this, but I do want it, I want it to stay supported, but I do want this to be off of the actual surface. So, oh, and I need to come out this way so I don't cut into this board. I don't want to cut into this. This is going to be my top surface. So. Lots of slow cuts today. And as I've said on this channel before, on these lives before, there's no point in measuring this. Even though I did, I'm only going to use those to make sure that this is correct. I've built one. There's no point in trying to finagle each one of these. Just take this one piece, and I know that this is going to be my master, or whatever you want to call it. And that way, I know that I'm cutting from this one, and I'm just going to place this on each one and cut across. Again, super right-handed, so I'm turning this so I can hit it with my right side of my blade. If you're left-handed, this is all going to be reversed. If you're ambidextrous, I don't know. I guess you're cutting this with your nose. I have no idea. Okay. Now, sometimes these can be a little off, so I'm going to do this way once, and then this way once, and then this way once, and I'm going to keep flipping it end over end and making sure this matches with that line. And I can already tell I'm off. Never mind. We're not going to do any of that. Forget I said any of that. Skip that whole last 5 minutes. We are going to do this the edge of the table. Because that way, I can put this here and line it up here. We're doing the whole thing a different way. Again, multiple low, slow cuts. Those first two are a little inaccurate. That does not matter. These are not going to be that accurate when we're done. I should probably peel this first so I can peel the paper once and not 100 times. But let me go ahead and put these as dents so I know where I'm going. All part of the prototyping process. So keep second guessing yourself. Yes, yes, I do. That is exactly correct. That is why we prototype, is so we can second guess ourselves. And then by the time we get to a final, which this may end up being the final if it works or works close enough, I'm gonna get a bunch of these I'm gonna build. So even the ones that are slightly messed up, as far as I'm concerned, they're perfect and they'll get used anyway. Now, remember, whenever you peel these papers off, they're going to be really staticky. So they're going to try to stick to things, or other things are going to try to stick to them. Just be aware of that. And the side that you peel, it will try to curl in toward that side. But once you peel the other side, it'll all iron out. And if you're worried about the static on it, you could either use one of those static bands that goes in your hand that plugs into like the ground on a plug on the wall. But that's a little overkill for this. Or you could use, just rub a dryer sheet on it, and the dryer sheet will take all the static right out of it. I mean, that's exactly what they're designed for. Okay, now since I didn't peel these beforehand, I'm gonna go ahead and do them now. Again, the faster you peel this paper off of here, the more static it's gonna build up, and they'll try to kind of stick to you at best. So just be aware. It drives me nuts. So yeah, I try to peel that paper off and then basically throw them out of my hand. In a few seconds, all that static will dissipate into your cutting mat or your table or whatever you're using. It's only there just for a few seconds after you peel them. All righty, now we're good to go. Again, I put these little marks on here so I can see where these dents are. You probably can't see them in the camera, but again, every 3/4 of an inch all the way down this 4-inch piece. So don't need you, do need you. Now these will be much easier to cut without the paper on them. They can get a little squirrely right at the end, so just be careful. Again, I'm going to cut all of these, and if any are left over, that's fine. I can always use them for other projects. This is cheap stuff, and it's just, I'd rather have more stairs than I need than have to go back and cut some. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this piece all the way down its length. We're more than, well, we're right about halfway done at this point with that part. If you're watching, had a couple come in and disappear, but that's all right. They can catch it later. Anybody's got any questions, comments? If you love the video, hit the like button down there. If you hate the video, hit the like button twice. No, I'm kidding. That's a joke. If you hate the video, give me a thumbs down so I know that maybe this is what people want to see. Either way, it all serves the algorithm, so whatever. But I'm glad you came and saw a little bit of it, even if you don't stick around. And if you do stick around, excellent. You are now one of my campaigners. We will have fun all night long, you know, for the next hour or so. The only thing I don't like about building with these foam boards on video is that in other countries, there are brands that come in this same thickness where the foam is either blue or charcoal gray / black. And those show up so much better on the camera. And here, I always feel like this is washing out and y'all can't see it. But I think we're doing all right tonight. Make sure it's lined up. Yep, it's the last one. One more low, slow cut. Bip. Done. That's right. Bip. I said bip. Okay, now, like I said, I want each of these to be overlapped about that 1/2 inch so I can get a good glue, but it leaves me a 1/4 inch here. Now, I am not trying to make these stairs in a way where the figures can stand on them. I'm not going for that. I'm going for a more realistic look. And if this figures need to stand on it, I can figure out a way to do that. There's ways to do that with straight pins. There's ways to do that with magnets. There's a way to do that with little attachments to the stairs that make a little platform. I'm not messing with any of that. So now I'm going to glue them. For again, this is a prototype. You can do it however you want. I cannot stand waiting for white glue to dry in general, and especially not between foam. It takes forever. So I am once again going to use my hot glue gun on low temp. If you put it on high and do it too quick, you'll melt the foam. Don't want to do that. So I am not drawing a 1/2 inch line and doing that. I should texture these first, but I'm not going to because I may not use all of them. And if I don't use all of them, there's no point in texturing the ones I haven't used. So, ooh, they are still staticky. That is all right. So we are going to take these and just a little bit of glue. It does not take much. These are going to be covered in all sorts of other coatings and glues and such in the process. And these are going to stick just fine. Plus, you get a lot of the squeeze out if you use too much glue, and I don't want to do that. So with this hot glue and this being in the foam being an insulator, you've got a little working time even on the low temp. It gives a little second so where you can wiggle it back and forth to get things lined up and straight, which I'm doing a poor job of doing, but a good job of explaining. But yeah, it was still a little bit flexible, so that's good. You see I got that pretty well lined up, but I am not that picky about it. Again, for anybody who has not caught that part in my previous builds, I am building a city as if it is well used and an active city. I'm not trying to build ruins, but I'm not trying to build brand new city either. So I am not particularly worried if any of this gets a little crooked because foundations shift and all of that. Now I'm going to build these 2 stairs at a time just to give the hot glue time between on the other stairs to literally chill out for a minute and harden up. And also, I don't want to keep building with this on an angle the whole way across where it's sitting like that while I'm trying to build on top of it. So I'm going to build these 2 at a time. I realize that camera's not really pointing where I need it. I apologize for that. Again, a little bit of glue. It does not take much. And that stair about halfway, not halfway, 1/2 inch of that 3/4 of an inch, and just press it down. Now, hot glue can create a bit of a space if it cools too quick and doesn't spread. So you want to squish that down pretty quickly, but once it's down, it should cool off and harden up fairly quick. Want to make sure that when you do that, it's not sitting curved or angled because that will stay in there forever. Okay, so I'm going to keep building about 4 more of these, and then I will check to see if that's close to the height I'm wanting. Little bit of glue. Overlap that by 1/2 inch. Press down so the glue doesn't have that gap in it. That's 3. Do about 2 more. And then I will measure or gauge or cross-check or however you want to word that. Cross-check. I always cross-check because I'm cross. Okay, not a great joke. Once again, anybody new, welcome, welcome, welcome. Anybody returning, welcome back, my campaigners. I am building a prototype / design plan for new version of my city block blocks, only this one's going to have some stairs that lead up to it. I have gotten this idea from several places that have built them like this. I don't remember the second and third ones. The first one was, what's the name of the thing? Battling Barrows. Battling Barrow, I think. If not, I'll make sure to put a link in the description. Battling Burrow, I think. Sorry, Kev. I don't remember the name of your channel, but I remember your name. And he's going to be on, coincidentally, not to do with anything with this, he is going to be on Carl Make Stuff's channel on a live stream on a Sunday earlier in the day than my streams in next week or a couple weeks after that. But it's on, if you go to Carl's channel, it's one of his upcoming lives. If you go to Carl's Discord, even better because it's already posted as an event. Okay, now I'm going to glue these together and see if they come to the height I need. Again, 1/2 inch overlap on each one. So a little bit of glue. And then overlap it by about the same amount. Press it into place so the glue doesn't leave a gap. Again, you can use any glue you want. This is, like I said, a rapid prototyping thing. Plus, hot glue is my favorite glue anyway. So again, you got a little bit of a chance to wiggle the stuff around, even if you're using the glue on low temp. Okay, we're going to let that one cool for a minute. We're going to do this next one. Again, a little bit of glue. Overlap by 1/2 inch. I'll line it up. Press it flat to get that glue space out of there. Got a little bit of wiggle time. As you can see, it's moving around a little. There we go. And that one's good. Now we'll go back to the one that's cooling. A little bit of glue. Overlap by 1/2 inch. Line it up as necessary. Squeeze it tight as necessary. And I would say we're going to set this one down and let it cool, but no, we're not. We're going to glue it right onto this one. So we're going to take that, little bit of glue. As one channel says, I'll remember that one in a minute. Hold on. Let the glue do what it do. But that's not my saying. I'm not taking credit for that. That is, Craft Nix. Craft Nix says that. Nick says, let the glue do what it do. All right. He hasn't put out a video in a while, but if you get a chance, go back and look at his previous stuff. Got some really good builds on there. A lot of cyberpunk futuristic stuff, as well as some fantasy stuff. So, okay, now we're going to check to see how high this is compared to our height that we're going to need on our final blocks. Let me grab the final block from over here. Take a second. I super intelligently set some stuff on top of it, because of course I did. Okay, so we're going to try to make this match this height from one layer up, because we're using a base layer. We're going to try to match from one layer up to one layer down so that this comes out to the same height. As you can see, we are not there. I'm going to need about 4 more stairs. So we're going to take 2 more of these, a little bit of glue, overlap 1/2 inch, squish those together, make sure they're aligned, give or take 1/4 inch of a stair. Good on that. And we're going to take 1 more. We're going to put a little bit of glue on that. My glue is stuck. There we go. That's way too much glue. And take that, overlap it that 1/2 inch of that 3/4, line it up, push that into place. Now, I've been trying to clean up all of the glue on one side of this. The other side, you got glue on the squish out. I don't care about that, because that's going to be the back. That's going to be hidden inside the build. That's going to be between 2 walls and going up to the platform. So this is 3 levels higher than it was. We're going to test that again before I go up to that 4th level. A little bit of glue, overlap by 1/2. All right. Death Prince of Bel-Air. That's funny. Nobody makes stairs that minis can balance on. Why? I build more for realism, and mine's a role-playing game. They don't have to stand there for line of sight. I don't build for war games. Some of the war gamers do, where they'll build it where it'll go up like 2 or 3 steps, and then there's a platform, and then 2 or 3 steps, and then a platform. But I do not need to do that. I'm never that worried if the people are stopping halfway up or whichever. Okay, so as you can see, I kind of messed it up and got it a little bit off. You probably can't see that. Let me show you. There's a little bit of a gap here. That is not going to matter. By the time I textured these, glued them in, hit them with several layers of paint for different things, and then at the end, if I really need to, I can come by with some glue, put it in that corner, toss in some sand for a little bit of debris. Good to go. Okay, now let's check this again. I have built them with platforms that same way. Since you asked, Death Prince of Bel Air is asking, nobody makes stairs that minis can balance on, and why? I think it comes down to wargaming versus role-playing. Role-playing, I'm going more for the immersion and the look. If I was playing for war games, again, like I said, I would build platforms. I have done before, but I typically don't because that's not what I build toward. Okay, so we need to measure not from the bottom, but from like one thickness of this up. And we want to keep it level. Looks like I am definitely going to need that extra stair. So we will take one more of these. And that's actually going to go a long way towards hiding that little hole I made. So we're going to make sure to cover that up on the top. A little bit of glue. And Death Prince of Bel Air, thank you for joining. I have not seen your name on my channel before, and so I'm always glad to have a new visitor. Welcome, welcome. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. I understand exactly what you're saying about the platforms, and I think that's the answer, but I couldn't tell you on other people's builds. I know what it is on mine. Okay, so again, I have realigned this top one with the rest of these. I still have this little gap I'll have to take care of later, but this little piece here, I can go ahead and take care of now. Ooh, that was a weird little squeaky noise. Sorry if that bothered anybody's ears. I don't think it was that loud. Okay, so that should be just about the right height. Again, I'm putting it here. And that's going to be close enough I can fudge it by sort of angling the stairs like 3 degrees. Okay, so we're going to set the block off to the side. We are now going to set the knife safely aside. We are going to take, that is not my bottom piece, that's my top piece. No, that is my bottom piece. No, that's my top piece that I need to cut in later. Okay, so for right now, we're going to take this and figure out how far back this is going to go into this piece. And I have no idea how to do that because I'm not going to try to use Pythagoras theorem and all that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my square and stand it up and put it here. And I know that this needs to go a ½ inch back, a quarter inch back, excuse me, quarter inch. And then I'm going to take this and line it up here and to draw a line underneath here where I will need to, where this will need to be supported at. And then I'm going to cut a support for this out of that other piece I said to save earlier. So let's try to figure this out freehand. Take that. That's holding itself at the right angle as long as I don't flex on it or push on it. Just let it sit. And I really can't do this on where y'all can see it on the camera and I can do it. Sorry about that. So again, what I'm going to do is take this, not that way, this way. Actually, this way. Use that. Line it up with the top of that. Try not to push anything into place. Leave that right where it's going to be. And I can move this out of the way. There you go. So that's where I want the top of, that's the back of this stair, which means this needs to come a ½ inch forward from that to match these stairs here. So I will then go here. This is also a measuring device, so I'll take that and draw. Let's see if these are the same distance. That's 4 and an eighth, and that's 4 and an eighth. Good, good. Okay, so I'm going to take this and make a mark ½ inch forward. Make a mark ½ inch forward. And then that is my cut line. But I only need to cut it this 4 inches wide. So take the square, pushing the square against the front edge of the cut in part. And this is going to be where my stairwell covers. So I need this to go like this. But this piece, I need to know this measurement from this edge, not this edge, this edge. I did this entirely wrong. Okay. These should have been cut halfway because this was supposed to have had 3/16 off the front and 3/16 off the back to make 3/8 off. And I screwed that up. So what we are going to do is we are going to take, nope, not even using those. We are going to take the 3/16 off the back. Not 3/16, 3/16 off the back. I'm trying to convert imperial into metric in my head and get as close as possible. So 3/16 is as close as I'm going to get to the give or take 2 millimeters I need to get off of here. So that's probably wrong somewhere and I'm doing that all incorrect. But what we are going to do is then take the straight edge and cut that off. Again, long, slow cuts. Go ahead and peel this because that's going to be hell to do with after. So get this paper off of here. Again, you're going to have a little bit of static to deal with. Now, you want to make sure you know which is the top and bottom. You can tell by the side that you cut is going to have a different texture than the part you just peeled the paper off of. So I'll leave that paper side up. Get rid of these little strips. Now I'm going to peel the entire base, both top and bottom, because I don't want paper on the bottom of it. Okay. Again, this is that cheap board from the American dollar stores called Dollar Tree. It peels really easily. If you've got a different brand and it doesn't peel this easily, you can soak it with rubbing alcohol or half rubbing alcohol, half water, and it will. Rubbing alcohol is called isopropanol or isopropyl alcohol, depending on where you're at in the world. And that, if you let it soak, and while it is still wet, it should peel off fairly easy. As soon as the alcohol evaporates out, it goes right back to being glued down. So I've also heard you can get it off with scalding hot water. I've never tried that. Basically, I don't have any way to heat water to that temperature in my basement. So again, there's going to be a lot of static when you peel these off. Just be prepared to deal with that. It's not a big deal. Okay. Yeah, for visual reasons, that's exactly right. It just looks a little more realistic, more immersive if the you know what I'm trying to say. If the stairs look more realistic rather than flat, rather than having flat platforms. But ooh, there's a lot of static on this. Again, that comes down to, if I was building these for war games, I probably would still build the platforms even if it didn't look as right, because that way if the mini is halfway up the stairs and you need line of sight, it's worth it for that. In a role-playing game, I don't think all that's necessary. Now, since this is the right thickness and I accidentally double cut here, what I'm going to do is put glue along here and glue this piece in and then trim it off. And that'll get me back to where I should have been in the first place. Again, this is why I'm prototyping. Ooh, that's a lot of glue. Wipe some of that along. Again, you want to use low temp glue on this, not high. High temp, you can melt your workpiece, and you don't want to do that. Either way, it can still be warm enough to heat you up and heat you up pretty good. Whether it's going to actually burn you or not, I don't know on low temp, but just be aware of the heat. Okay, now I sort of glued it down. That's good. It's actually going to hold it in place while I cut this other piece off straight and clean. So that's one. Again, we're keeping track of which side's which, so it's the right thickness here. Now, since I stuck it down, I'm going to sort of trim that down. Careful not to cut into the board, angle the blade. If I get a little bit extra here, I don't care. I'm actually going to turn that side up. That way, any of the squish out on the bottom is going to disappear and become on the top and be hidden. So I'm going to flip it back over the other way again, just so that way the squish out goes the same direction. Again, a little bit of glue. And I'm only doing halfway across here so that there's no glue here that I have to worry about later. All right, I'm going to take that, glue that in place, wipe anything off the top right here. which will actually become the bottom. Okay. Again, trim that off nice and clean. Save this piece. Never know what you need it for. My glue's still a little warm and squidgy, so we're going to let that sit for just a second. There we go. Solid. It's solidified now. Remember, hot glue doesn't dry. It sets or recongeals or whichever. That whole argument again of is water wet and all that, but technically it's a liquid, but it's not wet or doesn't make things wet. That's just me being picky. All right. Yeah, we're good there. Okay, now we are back on track. Now, again, this is going to sit a 1/4 inch back, come up to here, and then that measurement I made on the front, I'm going to have to duplicate onto the other piece, but that's going to be super easy. And then that will be where we cut in on this piece to make it match the top of the stairs. So, you also saw how I did that before, but I'm going to do it again just to show you. Again, I want to take that. We're measuring from this back line here over open air. So, straight edge with the T side, flat side, off to the side here, not at the bottom. Take that and gently press it against the top of the stairs so I know where they're at. I know I think I'm a little far over, so we're going to do this. There we go. Nope, that's not good. There we go. Now, that's my cut line. I need to come 4 inches in. Four inches in. Then, using this square edge now, the T part, to line up on this edge. Draw that line. And draw that line. And in order to make this match up, I can't cut this here. I have to cut this a 1/2 inch in to match this. So we're going to take that, use this again, 1/2 inch mark, 1/2 inch mark. That's my cut line. Okay, so this part is coming out. Again, always want to try to cut away from an inner corner. That way you don't cut into your piece. So I'm going to use this to cut against. And I'm going to start right at that line. Slow, low cuts. It takes several to get through this. I probably should have peeled the paper before I did this, but either way, it's not going to matter on this. Okay. I messed something up, and I'll show you what in just a second. Again, that's why I'm prototyping. That's why I'm doing this. Okay, so now we've got that freely cut on both sides. Now I want to cut this line from this corner about halfway, and then I'll flip it around and come from this corner about halfway. Might as well use the straight edge while I got it. Okay. Long, slow cuts. I mean, low, slow cuts. Doesn't matter if they're long. Start from that corner. And that should be free. Yes, indeed. Okay, again, save it. Never know when you need it. Now, here's what I did wrong. I measured this so that it would line up here, but I forgot that this is actually one layer down because this layer will have bricks placed on top of it. And I forgot to take into account the brick height, which means this is actually going to need to go back. No, this is fine. And then the next layer up will be this same, the bricks will be placed a 1/4 inch back. So let me see if I can fudge those numbers without having to cut one of these off. I know a lot of my European friends right now are watching me peel this going, man, I wish I had that stuff with the stuff. Yep. I don't know if you can get it. And it's called Ready Board. And it's available at our Dollar Trees. But I'm not going to show you the label because they ain't paying me any money. Hey, Ready Board or Dollar Tree or whoever owns this, if you want to sponsor my channel, you know where to find me. All right. Take that. Peel it off. Again, going to be a lot of static on that. Sometimes there's static on the paper as well, but not always. This is going to be, yep, that's sticking to my surface. Okay, now, if I look at the height I need it to be, and I put these two layers against it, if this comes all the way to the top, I'm going to have to take a stair off. If it does not come all the way to the top, then I can fudge the bricks. And I'm going to put that right there and hold it, and okay, I can fudge that, so I'm going to fudge that. Okay, we are just going to make do with that. All right, now this needs to go here, but not yet. Obviously, I need to get walls on this first and maybe some supports under this. So we're going to do that. I'm going to need another piece of foam core, or I can use some cardboard for that. And I think I'm going to do that. Give me just a second to grab some corrugated. And I think I've got some right near me somewhere. Oh, yep, there we go. That'll work. Okay. So this needs to be, I really want the corrugations to run this way so they're more rigid. If I make it so that the corrugations run this way, there'll be a little bit of a flex, but I think the edges will hold it tight, so I don't want to have to go put y'all on hold while I go get more cardboard. I'm going to make do on this. Again, prototype, I can always do it different later. Oh, wait, no, I have extra foam core. I forgot I cut off a big chunk at the beginning. Okay, so I need these walls to match exactly here all the way around on this piece. This piece will sit on top of that and stand a little bit proud so that when I build bricks on the side of this one to look like this piece, this one has 3, and I'm not doing 3 on this one, I'm only doing 2. I don't know why it went out of focus. I have no idea why it's not focusing. All right, we're going to switch cameras entirely and work on a different way. So you can see that this has 3 layers. There's actually the top bricks and 2 layers. I'm not doing that on this. I'm only doing 1 because it's not going to be a box. It's not going to have to be as rigid or sturdy a lid. So it's only going to be 1 layer. So I need exactly this length, which I already know is, it doesn't matter to y'all what it is. I'm just going to tell you. This one needs to be exactly this length. And then I'm going to need to cut some pieces off it, but I don't know exactly their height yet. We'll figure that out in a moment. And I will be gauging that, not measuring it, just so we are clear. I'm not going to use that as a straight edge. I'm going to use the straight edge as a straight edge. This one, I'm going to go ahead and cut across. Now, nope, let me do this other thing first, and then I'll tell you what I meant by now. Okay, so these are going to go on the side. And then once I've got them on the side, I will measure the gap and put one in between them. So we will take that, and I need to know how high again. So let's take those 2 layers and sit that on top of those, because it's going to be sandwiched between them. You're not going to be able to see that. Let me switch that other camera and see if it refocuses. You play nice? Yes, there we go. Okay, so I'm basing it on these 2 layers, which you can't really see there. There you go. See better in the shadow there. And these 2 layers and this, and all of that needs to come up to this height, just below this top level. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. I had picked the wrong right-hand camera. There's two right-hand cameras in my little setup. Thank you for letting me know. All right, sorry about that. That wasn't an audio issue. That was me being dumb. All right, so as I was saying, this just needs to line up along these outside edges where it is the same length. You can do whatever you need to do to keep this as vertical and straight and plumb and square as you need to. I am just eyeballing it. This is going to have, as long as I get it lined up, this is going to have enough flex I can fix it even if I'm a little off on the angle. But we'll get to that in a minute. I am going to go ahead and, I could glue here and then glue this whole side at once, but I'd rather just glue this in place, and that way I have that gap to measure. All right, so we are going to take this, and once again, bit of glue. And put this on low temp, not high temp. On high temp, you'll melt everything. So you only want the glue melted, not the foam. Line that up along this outside edge. And as long as that's close to aligned there, got a little bit of wiggle time with the glue. As long as that's close to lined up there, then again, the vertical part won't matter because we can adjust that as we need to. Now we're gonna let that cool for just a minute so that I can get the proper measurement for the back without pushing those out of the way. So that's gonna take just a second. All right, have a good one, DNC. Good, thanks for coming. Sorry that I didn't say goodbye before. You're probably already gone. I apologize for that. All right, now this piece is long enough that it's going to fit all the way across. So we've got that. And we need to know this measurement. I'm not going to measure that. I'm going to gauge that. This is too wide, so I'm going to sit that on one corner from here. And I know that because this is at a slight angle, it's not going to be quite accurate. So I need to take that into account. So I know it just needs to be a slight bit longer than this line I'm about to make. So we're going to take that and that. So it actually, instead of being at that line, this focus, I do not know why it is not doing this. Give me just a second. I apologize. Just a second. This shouldn't even be having a focus issue. Properties. Find my zoom here. There's supposed to be a zoom on here. Like in advanced settings. Oh, now that I'm adjusting it, now it focuses. Isn't that great? Okay, so I know that this line is a little bit too close, too short. So I need to extend it just a little. And I mean like the thickness of the pencil lead. So that's my line. And I want to make sure that whatever this measurement is, I do it on the same on both sides. So I'm going to take this, and that is, now remember, I messed up this corner. So I need to keep track of which corner is the one that I accidentally messed up. So we're going to draw a little squiggle here. All right, so I need to take on this side. That is 2 to 13, so that's 11 and a quarter. 11 and a quarter. That is right there. So that's correct on this side as well. Yes. Now we're going to take the square again and square that off. And close enough. Like I said, it's going to be able to squish. This is all foam. This is the one I don't want. So now I need to take this same width here, not on this edge, but on this edge. And I want to measure that here. And make sure that's tight in there. Here. And that's my cut line. Not that one. This one. Okay, again, low, slow cuts, low, slow cuts. As ever, probably use this later. We want to save these. Put those off to the side. Now this is the front. This is where the stair is going to be. You want to put this on the other side. This goes to the back, and I'm going to run the bead of glue in here rather than here. That way, the piece that I'm moving around doesn't have glue on it. It's going to go find the glue. So I'll take that, put a bead all the way across, or as much as you think it needs, right at that edge, but not directly in the edge. Remember, there's going to be some squeeze out. So a little bit of glue, and while that is still warm, I'm going to take that piece, fit it in there, and fold that inward, and that way any of the squeeze goes to the inside, not the outside. And then you want to line it up across that back edge. Now, there are two ways you can do this back corner, and I'm going to use the simple, easy one. You can take a piece that's a squared off piece of foam and fit it in there and glue against both sides. I am just not going to do that. I've done this enough times that I'm just comfortable doing it the other way. I am simply going to squirt glue into this gap and then push them together. Probably want to yeah, that's not hard yet, so we're going to let that harden up. And there we go. All right. So we got Lawton. It's finally focusing again, and I know you can hear me. Okay, everything's going as well as I can expect right this second. All right. Now, you'll notice that this has, oh man, what is that? 1/2 millimeter, 1/3 of a millimeter. I know I switched imperial metric again, but a 1/64 of an inch right here, that's not going to matter. Once we start to glue all of the bricks on it, which is not happening tonight, but once we start to glue all the bricks on, and they're all different depths and different thicknesses, that is going to completely disappear into the brickwork. You're never going to see that. It's going to be hidden completely inside it's gone. It's just gone. It's just gone. Okay. So now that that's hardened up a little, we will take that and a little bit of glue in the corner. And squish that together. Make sure that that is as aligned as you can get it. If it's got any squeeze out, you might want to get rid of that. But on the other hand, like I said, the bricks are going to cover all that. If you think you can squish the bricks against that, then you don't have to worry about the squeeze out at all. Okay, that's that corner. Let that harden a little. As that's hardening, I'll explain this. I now need to cut a piece to go here and a piece to go here. The one that goes here, as long as it's this long or longer, is fine. So I don't care how long this one's going to be. These ones need to only come to the centerpiece because that's where the stairs are going to be at. And that will make a corner here. You'll see in a minute. Those are also going to need to be the same height. You can gauge them against that. So that one should be hardened up. So let's get this other back corner. Widen that. Squirt a little glue in there. And press those together. Again, keep them fairly well lined up, but again, a micron or two off is not going to matter. Okay. But you do want to push together. You don't want the glue widening that, because otherwise you'll end up with a wall that's at an angle. So as long as that's pushed together while the glue dries, should be good to go. Okay. Now we're going to grab the handy dandy offcuts. First, we're going to check this and see. Yep, that's too short. We're not doing that. We're going to take this and we are going to gauge that all the way across here. And that is going to be my cutoff mark. We are going to take that and ye olde straight edge again, follow that line. Low, slow cuts. I don't think I'm going to need another one of those cuts because this should be enough to do both of the parts I need here and here. Technically all 4 of the parts because there's one on each side. Okay, so we are going to take that. This thing keeps being in my way. We are going to peel this. Same as ever. It's going to be a slight curvature to the foam after you peel it. Once you peel the other side, that curvature will go away. There's also going to be static from peeling the paper off. So just be prepared to deal with that. It's only a little bit. It's not going to be enough to shock you, but other little bits of foam laying around may try to come over and be friendly with this one, or get repelled and fly across the table the other way. Either one. All right. Now, I want this to come exactly to this 4-inch line from this line. So we are going to take that, butt it up against here, and make a little mark. Now, since we know this is pretty square, we're going to take this piece and this square and cut across that. Long, low, slow cuts, low, slow cuts. Now, we know that that's the right length for one side, but we can double check that. That might have been off by, a couple quarter inch or whatever. Nope, looking good, looking good. So we're going to take that and gauge the other one for the other side. Let's make sure it fits both sides. Should be mirror image. Perfectamundo. All right. Low, slow cuts. Low, slow cuts. Now, still going to need this in just a second. Don't run off of that. Now for this one, because I'm going to stick it in there quickly, I'm going to put glue on one end and the bottom. Like that. Line it up to the front. And line it up and push it to the side. So we're going to push it against here. It is plumb as possible. And we're also going to keep it pressed down here so that this glue line right here stays good. If there's any squeeze out, go ahead and wipe that off. Should be pretty easy. And while that one hardens, we'll go ahead and do the other side. A little bit of glue on the side. A little bit of glue on the bottom. Doesn't take much. I probably overdid that. Again, line it up with the edge so it goes plumb. Line it up with the front so it stays lined up and vertical. And press that into place. Let it set for just a second so it doesn't go anywhere. Which I'm gluing myself to it, so let's fix that. There we go. All righty. Now, this one, since we need to go back at least as far as these stairs, but it doesn't matter how much farther after that, we are going to take that and simply cut it in half. This is give or take 11 inches, so I'm going to cut that at about 5.5. This one totally doesn't matter how perfect you get it because it's the back edges of it are going to be like completely hidden back inside here. All righty. I don't like that edge. It's got a factory edge, but it's got a weird lip on it. So I'm going to put that on the back side back here, inside where it'll never be seen or touched. Again, glue on the end, glue on the bottom. I don't know if you can see it, but I know where my 4-inch line is because I made a little dent earlier. So I'm going to follow that 4-inch line and squidge that against it. Again, want to get it plumb and square here in the corner and straight back along that line. Because I want to make sure that the stairs are pressed tight against that side. So I definitely want this to be lined up this way, which it's good. We're doing good there. At this point, I can glue these in and use them as a place to brace the one I just dropped. Ooh, and doesn't want to come up here. Okay, we're gonna stab that with a pencil because it's gonna be hidden anyway. All right. So this needs to fit right here. So to make sure we're gonna do that, I can either glue the stairs in now, or I can put this in and then glue the stairs in. I don't want the stairs in my way. So I'm gonna use them to press against to make sure it's right, and then I'm gonna move them out of the way. Again, glue on the bottom. Glue on the side. Press that right in here against this. And I want that as straight as possible. We're going to use this to make sure that it is. We're going to take this and put it this way. And now I know I've got a nice, secure, snug fit. And that's going to be perfect once I put the stairs in. Okay. Now we will make sure that's pressed against. Good, good, good. Make sure it's straight and plumb and flush and all that. All right. Now I'm going to take this out. And we are going to take one more cut of this, except it needs to be this height minus one stair. You'll see why in a moment. So since this one is already 4 inches by 4, give or take 4 inches, I need to make sure which side's which, okay? So that's 4 inches, so I need to cut this height to this height minus one stair. But I'm going to do that the easy way. I'm going to cut it and then recut it. Or I could just take off the 4 millimeters. Either way, I think I'll do that. I want to make sure this line here is pressed against this line on my square and butt it up against the table. The width of a stair. We are going to take that off. Low, slow cuts. Which I think my knife's getting dull. I'm going to sharpen that here in a minute. This is my offcut. Again, sit it at the side. Never know when you're going to need it. This piece is that height minus one stair. So we are going to do. This one doesn't have to be peeled at all because this is going to be completely hidden inside and nothing's going to be glued to it. So I'm not even going to bother peeling this one because it also gives me more rigidity. I'm going to take that. This gets glued right here inside the stair. So make sure, remember I said I had some squeeze out on these earlier. So make sure, okay, this is the top surface. This is the bottom surface. So I want to put it on, this side's going to be hidden. So I want to make sure that this piece gets glued here. So just to make sure that's where my glue is going. And a little bit of glue. This you can put a lot of glue if you want, doesn't matter because this is all going to be hidden. Okay, and we take that and we want to glue that onto that stair as vertically as possible just because it's going to be the support for the stair hidden underneath. Now, here's the tricky bit. These need to be glued on the sides, and so does this. So that's where the flex of the foam core comes in handy. You could do this with cardboard as well, but it's actually less flexible once you get it all in place. And I am banking on this flex. That's why I'm using foam core. So I want to take glue, put it all the way along these stairs, and here, and here, and here, and here, and here. So get my fingers out of the way. Doesn't have to be completely perfect. It just needs to be enough to hold it in place. So little bit of glue, little bit of glue, little bit of glue, little bit of glue, 2 more little bits of glue. Don't glue my hand. Little bit of glue. You got to do this pretty quickly so that the glue does not set on you while you're doing this. Okay, now, like I said, take this, spread this piece open, wedge that in there, And I want to align this stair so it looks like this piece was here the whole time. And et voila, just like that. Boom, boom, boom. That's our stair. Now, why do I leave this one standing out? Because I'm going to brick this whole wall. And when I do, this stair is still going to be standing proud. Now, I still need to brick this wall, so I'm going to have to brick around each of these stairs. But small price to pay for having it essentially perfect on my first full glue in. And that's it. Now, we can see where this piece is going to go. Now, foam core is a little flexy, so I am going to put some supports in here, and those need to be the same height as this. And again, I'm going to go to my offcuts. This whole box is going to take less than one full sheet of dry foam core. Now, these pieces inside here, none of them are going to have to be peeled. I'm not using this as storage. It's not going to open. You could do that if you wanted, but that's a whole big complicated fiasco. I am simply going to cut pieces that are this same height, and I'm going to arrange them in here in some way that will support this bit of flex once it's done. So I need to take this, and this needs to be the same height as not this whole piece, this piece. So I want to take that, line it up on this end, make sure that that's got that little part off. Take this, there's my mark. Do the same thing on the other end. Line it up, make sure that there's one layer below that. Make my mark. Okay, now, okay. Say it with me, low, slow cuts, low, slow cuts. Can take about 3, maybe 4 cuts to get you. Oh, I said I was going to sharpen that. If y'all can get a diamond sharpener, I absolutely recommend it. Your blades will last 1,000 times longer. The $9 on this, that this cost me, has saved me far more than $9 in blades, being able to reuse them instead of throwing them out when they get dull. I can just resharpen them. Now, this has a coarse side and a smooth side. This is only going to take the smooth side for this. And that's all it's going to take, and you'll see that this is sharp again. It was catching into the paper earlier, and now it won't. Low, slow cuts, low, slow cuts. Line up the marks, and oh man, sharp blades are nice, yeah? Done. Now, we know this is the right height, and I'm going to go ahead and use a bunch of this to make sure this is really sturdy inside. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this piece to gauge the cut for this piece. I'm going to take that, line it up on this side, and again, low, slow cuts, low, slow cuts. Okay, it's looking like I'm coming up on my 8:30 time that I normally cut off. I am going to be trying to stick to that pretty stringently, so I am going to glue these pieces in, and then I think we're going to call that a night. In the comments down below, or come to my Discord. The links for that are down below. If you want to see me work on this some more next week, let me know. If you want me to switch to an entirely different project, let me know. So let me know in the comments, or come over to my Discord, preferably my Discord. I would love to have you over there. Links are in the doobly-doo down below. So I'm going to get these glued in. I'm not even gluing on the top. I'm just gluing in these supports, and then I'm calling it quits for the night. Now, these obviously need to be shorter length in this wall. I'm going to go ahead and make that pretty much exactly the same length as this wall. That way I can glue it on a boat. You'll see. Okay, that's a bad mark. Let's do that again. Okay, now we're going to take that and my little doobop square there, my speed square. Doobop square. Yeah, I was a professional carpenter for 15 years. All right, low, slow cuts. Okay, that's one. I'm going to use that as the gauge for the other because they should be identical. And cut that way. Now, I am not going to bother to put glue at the ends of these. You'll see why in a second. So I'm going to put glue on the bottom edge. It shouldn't take nearly this much glue. I don't know why I put that much in there. And then I'm going to put these in at a slight angle because I think that will give me more support in the long run. So just a very slight angle. Anybody who knows anything about putting things together like this, you want a diagonal to stop it flexing. That's why I'm doing this. Now, the reason I didn't put any on the ends is because I got plenty of room in here and I can just come in with the glue gun and lay bead just in there and let that grab hold. Once that hardens on both of these, I can flip it and do the other side in here if I want. But basically, that's it. That's going to be the inner core. I might put a piece across here. I will definitely put a piece across here as well. I'm going to use one of these and do that as for that. And then this will be ready and set to put the top on. Like I said, let me know in the down below if you want me to do that on camera next week, or if you'd rather see me do something entirely different. Please come to my Discord and check it out. Links are below. Before I run off, please remember that I have a Patreon. That's not the big port. This is the part you need to remember. These are my patrons. One of my patrons is Dungeon Matron. She's got her own Discord. It's really fun to hang out. So if you want a link to that, let me know. Come to my Discord, and I'll happily give you the link to her Discord. Patrick Walter, been a long-time supporter of the channel as well. Really appreciate all the help from Patrick. And Digital Calibrator is a close personal, in real life, comes over to my house friend. And the fact that my audio works at all is attributed to her. She came over and helped me with fixing a bunch of my audio and even a couple of video issues. They don't call her Digital Calibrator for nothing. She helped me with lots of issues. Now, this mic sounds better than my first mic for my first couple weeks, and that is thanks to Dungeon Matron. So, many, many thanks to everybody you see on that screen right there. Super duper happy with them. All right, that is it. I'm going to call that a night for now. And again, this has been Campaign Terrain. I am your host, That Guy Cross, your resident basement dweller. I always say that. I don't actually live down here. I just craft down here. But I love having you. And I love y'all for coming and hanging out. I love anybody who's creative and anybody who ever wants to talk about gaming, wargaming, tabletop gaming, whatever. Hit me up. I would love to hear about it. I love to talk to you about it. And if you ask anybody, I can talk about it all day long. But I'd love to hear you talk about it as well. So I love you. And thank you for coming. Until next time, as ever, I wish you luck in your campaign, both on the table and in real life. Have a great night.